Simon from WhatCulture here with the one and only Nick Aldis. How you doing, my friend?
Good, Simon. Thanks for coming to see me.
Oh, no, thank you, man. I mean, this must feel like quite a pivotal moment for you, because just walking around All In, you can tell how big an event this is. Yeah. And you, my friend, are in the main event.
Yes. When I took on the challenge to be, part of the new NWA and to work with Billy and Dave Lagana, we discussed very early on what our vision was for what we felt was missing in pro wrestling, and not what we didn't like and all this sort of thing, just what we felt was a way to penetrate the market in a different way. I wanted to do the prize fight approach to pro wrestling. I felt like it hadn't been done for a long time, and it had never really been done in the modern era. And we obviously now have all this stuff at our disposal, meaning the ability to deliver content right away and stuff like that. And I said, I can turn on any device any day of the week and watch really great wrestling matches, but what I can't see is the long-term effort to make people care. And we all talked about it, and we realized that not only is that the smart way to do it, but it's also the only way to do it without shelling out a boatload of money. And in such a short period of time to be in the position we're in, it is, I'm not the first one to say it. Obviously, everyone's been saying what a great thing it is, but at the same time, it's like it feels right. It's validating to know that I was right, because it's not like this is the first time I thought of it. It's something that I had tried to communicate before, and it sort of fell on deaf ears. And then when we all sat down and went, well, how do we do this? Let's just start here and then go here and then here. And it just worked. And obviously, in my mind, I've always kept a vision of who I wanted to be as far as a big-time pro wrestler. So to be in this position with this championship belt, with this opponent, on this occasion, it's a once-in-a-lifetime thing, and that's what you get in this business to do. Absolutely.
And you've had a really varied and diverse career as well. Like, you can, say you Wikipedia'd yourself, for example. Sure. You see all the different things you've done. Do you think all of that has come together? Is one of those things you look back on now, you go, thank goodness I did this, this, even though at the time you're like, oh, it didn't work out as planned, because it's taken you to this point?
Absolutely. I think that, for the most part, the best guys in the business tend to have a very rich tapestry.
Yeah, I think it's true.
You know what I'm saying? And like a Steve Austin or even a Flair or a Jericho and guys like that who it wasn't all plain sailing. And so you develop muscles that you didn't know you had, the ability to be weathered in that right way, where you have to build a respect with the audience these days. I feel like the sort of fake it till you make it days are over. Every now and then someone can show up and be a phenomenon. But that's not going to be me. But what I can do is take all the things that I've learned and picked up and combine them with the things I had right from the start. And now I'm 31. There's a whole audience that perhaps saw me when I was much younger and couldn't really relate to that. They didn't really know what it's like for a guy in the early 20s to get those many opportunities. But now there are guys in their 20s who are looking up to me, and they don't necessarily understand the journey that's there. But I had this conversation with Sam Roberts recently, where it's like, you never stop learning, but this is a culmination of all that. And the same can be said of Cody. I think that's one of the reasons why this rivalry has been such a compelling thing for people.
I totally agree. I know we've got you for a few minutes as well, so I just want to ask you, obviously, the UK scene right now is huge and it's massive, and you can argue, well, this is what I was going to talk about though, because you were one of the guys that managed to get their head above water before that explosion really happened. I think that's fair, right? It'll be on TNA or even Gladiators, right? Like, it was something like, oh, it's Nick Aldis. So when now you look back and you kind of see what it's become, I mean, what's your take on it?
I'm proud of it, sure, and I know I'm sort of tongue in cheek when I say that, but the reality is that when I look at what was being said about the British independent scene prior to guys like myself, Wade Barrett, Drew McIntyre, Sheamus, because even though he's Irish, he was a big part of the British wrestling scene. Yeah. Marty, all these guys, they weren't. There was this thing where people looked at British wrestling. Oh well, they're very good technical wrestlers. They're shooters. And it was kind of like, we're not. That's not all we are. That's a thing from a different era, and not to disparage like Regal and stuff like that, but they took that because they looked at it as that was their way into the American market, like their niche. Whereas I think my generation looked at it and went, I don't want to be pigeonholed as just that guy that does British wrestling stuff. I had no reason to believe that I could be anything other than the top guy. And I communicated that everywhere I went. You know, I have a joke with Vince Russo about this, because he once said sort of flippantly, what do you want to be, the world champion or something? You're British. And I sort of went,
I love that attitude.
I said, yeah. And I said, yeah, I do want to be the world champion. You know, like, and to be fair, he was sort of joking, but it was clear that he still had that mentality that, well, you know, you're a gimmick, you know, like
You're
that. And
outside.
it's no.
Yeah.
And I just said, no, I'm not a British guy. I'm just a guy. You know, for me especially, I consider myself a citizen of the world at this point. I mean, just this year alone, I've defended this belt on 4 different continents. So, you know, I think when people say that's the genuine world championship, I understand it and I believe in it. You have to believe in it, because it starts in here. And like I say, with all the content that's out there now, you have to believe it, because you're being seen every day by someone, and every day is another chance to build your audience one person at a time. And that's what we've done. Dave and I, we have a continuous thread in our conversations, which is brick by brick. You know, it's an old school approach with a modern delivery system.
Wow. That was a good line. You know what? We'll just end it there, because that's a wonderful line. Nick Aldis, thank you so much for your time, and good luck tomorrow night.
All right, thanks.
Excellent. Thank you.